22.3, solving a quadratic equations by completing the square. Now, when you complete the square, let's say we have a quadratic and we're trying to solve it. This is the general form of a quadratic. The leading term must be a 1. So, when completing the square, we must have this form where we have 1x squared plus bx plus c. Now, once the leading term on the x squared is a 1, then you can take the b, and this is how you complete the square. If the b is an integer, you can just take b over 2, and that'll take half of it. And remember to simplify that, if it can be simplified, and then square it. If b is a fraction, the way to take half of it, you would just put a 1/2 in front of it instead. And so you simplify that, and you square it. Once everything has been simplified, the square has been taken. So let's go here. We have an x squared minus 3x minus 4 equals 0. And you see that the leading term on the x squared is 1, so this is in good shape. So now we're going to remove the negative 4 from this side, and this will start the process of completing the square. So I'll say plus 4, and after adding plus 4 to both sides, we're going to get, let's say, x squared minus 3x, and that's going to equal 4. Okay. I think we're now ready to complete the square. We're going to find the numbers that go here and here. So let's take the negative 3. Okay. And we want to put it over 2. That'll take half of it. Okay. And it doesn't need to be simplified, so we're going to square that answer. Okay, so when we square that answer, we're taking negative 3 over 2 times a negative 3 over 2. It's a bad looking 3 on top. Negative. Okay, there we go. So negative times negative will give us a positive. 3 times 3 will give us a 9. And 2 times 2 will give us a 4. And this completes the square. Okay, so that process is done. Now, let's go back to the original equation, x squared minus 3x, or where we left off, and that equals 4. And what we're going to do is we're going to put that 9 over 4 on both sides. Whatever you do to one side, you do it to the other. So this 9 over 4 is going to go here, plus 9 over 4, and then plus 9 over 4 here. All right. Now let's go to the next step. On this left side, we're going to start factoring this into 2 binomials. So we're going to need 2 fractions here. Okay. On this side, we need to have, let's see, we need to be able to combine these two. So since this is basically a 4, 9/4, we can multiply these two and then add, and that'll become a improper fraction. So 4 times 4, 16, and 16 plus 9 will be 25 over 4. All right, on back to the left side, x squared, x times x will give us our x squared, and 9 over 4, so for the 9, that'll be 3 times 3, and for the 4, that'll be 2 times 2, and both signs have to be negative. So negative and negative. Okay, there we go. All right, so these two can become x minus 3 over 2 to the second power. And that'll equal 25 over 4. All right, from there, we're going to, we're going to remove the square and then remove the negative 3/2, and we'll have x by itself. So let's start from that point. 3 over 2, second power, equals 25 over 4. And we'll take the square root of this side and square root of this side. And unless you were told otherwise or have a reason for otherwise, when we take the square root of an equation, we use plus or minus on one of the sides. Doesn't matter which one. Well, it's better if we put it over here on the simple number here. So as a result, the square goes away, and we're left with just the x minus 3 over 2. And over here, we can take the square root of the 25, which is 5, the square root of 4, which is 2, and then drop down the plus and minus. Now, the plus and minus says, basically dictates that we will have two equations. One equation will be x minus 3 over 2 equals positive 5 over 2. And the other side will have x minus 3 over 2 equals the negative 5 over 2. Okay, now let's solve this by adding 3 over 2 to both sides. So plus 3 over 2 plus 3 over 2, and we'll get x equals 8 over 2, and 8 over 2 simplifies to a 4. Okay, here we're going to add 3 over 2 to both sides, and so we'll get x equals, so a negative 5 and a positive 8 will give me, a negative 5 and a positive 3 will give me a negative 2 over 2. And this will be x equals, negative 2 over 2 simplifies to a negative 1. And those are two solutions.